It's Triple. Thanks for watching my video. Nice to meet you. I'm going to start off by saying thank you all for all who have been grinding out, staying at home, staying clean, staying safe. I know I'm making this video as a response to somebody else on the internet. It's not a slam dunk, I'm dissing you bro kind of video. No, it's none of that, none of that. I'm actually a fan and a subscriber of TripleHQ on YouTube and Twitch. So this is not one of those slam dunk videos. I'm just trying to give an idea to bolster the conversation. Plus, y'all know why I'm here. I'm the smartest person in YouTube. I know all the tricks. I know exactly what should be done to make the most amount of money. That's why I sweat to make this video every single freaking day. And I've cut about 4 or 5 different versions of this and had to delete them all. So that being said, let's get to the heart of what I'm talking about. If at any point you feel inclined, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and you'll see more of me telling people what they should be doing with their content and their video games. I just want people to make things that I can enjoy. So I'm going to tell you exactly what I enjoy, and you make it. Is that okay with you? Thank you. Now let's get going. There's a history of people loving overworld content. I call it overworld, but it's really called open world. There's always a problem with the open world. It just feels like you either have to make a world that has way too much data in a massive game, which has just so much to do that you obviously have to have an instruction manual this thick for it. Or your open world is basically a sandbox playing in with little kids that apparently are so bored that they have to hit a baseball over a freaking fence and a dog has to come and eat it. The idea is that you want to make Final Fantasy XIV, a beautiful game by the way, open world. Really? You really want to do that? Because Final Fantasy is about doing epic things within the world to the point where you get so deeply entrenched into a plot that you just all of a sudden pop your head out of the sand and was like, where did everybody go? Why are we still here? To suffer? But I know some games do it very well. I mean, I like Ghost of Tsushima right now. I play Ghost of Tsushima all the time. One of my favorite games, Horizon Zero Dawn, is open world-ish. But let me just tell you what needs to be done to make Final Fantasy XIV an open world game. 1, it has to be teeming with life. Things have to happen dynamically and actually affect your movement strategy. And you can't be able to skip it. You have to literally be able to move through this world and it affect you and you affect it. Like going from the greats like Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption 2. You affect change. Everything you do can be done upon you and vice versa. The reason why you affect change is because you are exactly just the same as the player next to you. The world is governed by a set of rules that include you, but you don't break them. If you're in an open world and you can do things that others can't, that's not an open world. That's just you getting away with being a super badass and that you are now all of a sudden playing with characters. It has to actually be a real functioning simulation that works. You can't just walk in and all of a sudden do super dashes and no one else can. Or have a debug mode and then turn on something and then everything changes and now you're in a whimsical little place. And you're able to do like super stomps and then all of a sudden everybody bows to you. That's a poorly run simulation. And on that note, the open world has to be able to operate with or without you. Meaning that if something's gonna happen to you, it better be because it's something that is happening autonomously, organically, and it's part of what the world normally does. You jump into the world, you ain't safe, you didn't start it, you ain't finish it, you're just gonna have to live in it. We out here, bro. We getting it done. It's just gonna have to happen. There's nothing else we can do about it. These boys are coming for your neck. That's an open world. Don't baby the player base. Don't let people think, oh, we're gonna give you a tutorial on how this is done. Normally, you'd have to be in the thick of it, but I'll stand completely still while you beat me in the face. No, you need to stop babying the audience. You need to let them play a game. You need to get them hurt. You need to have them have their teeth knocked out. Seriously. Or it would be so cool if the world lived in its own and you just find stuff instead of it all being mapped out in a little space where everybody can find it and be like, oh, looky here, or looky there. That's not a real freaking open world. I don't think Final Fantasy XIV wants this, But if you wanted a conversation about an open world, the last thing you do is feed the information to your audience. You let the audience find that stuff out on its own. Dark Souls is a great example of that. Nothing's told to you. You literally are just walking out of a grave saying, where am I and what the hell just happened? That's an open world style. Lasting effects. People actually recognize you by name by what you do. You're not just some random person casually walking around and everyone gets the same turn. If you're not unique in the actual space that you're in, you're a nobody. Everyone wants to feel like a somebody. You can be whatever you want to be in a real open world. You can be a trader that trades well or that steals from people. It's just the next level up in roleplay. Because roleplay sometimes means, what's the word for rules? That's not rules. You break the code of conduct. That's what it is. You break the code of conduct. So why don't we do that? I love Final Fantasy XIV just as much as the next guy. I've been playing it for about 5 years now. I don't have a problem with the way it is right now. But if you are asking for an open world, I think I have a way of you making one and using the assets that are currently out there. No rehashing old content for views, like I do, but yet using the content that you have in order to create brand new experiences. You remember there's a grand company in all 3 city-states? There is a problem where the only reason why the grand company existed was to create ranks for people so that way they can affect the world that they live in. And there are a few rare cutscenes which actually name you by your rank when you talk to certain agents in Stormblood, especially when you're talking to a couple of generals out there. So why not make that a thing? Or more importantly, why not use that in order to make the worlds that we currently live in feel open? First off, we need to address the fact that you're in a world which you can actually make change. And make change that happens with or without you. The idea of fates is great, but fates only work if people are actually in them. And it's still the rule of a story. It's not actually a rule in order to create dynamic change, which means that what effects happen after the fate would actually happen to affect the whole world. Or at least to have a lasting change. So, hear me out. What if the entire area had some sort of contest? The beast tribes are out there in full force. What they should be able to do is actually go off. Go berserk. Start doing more and more crazy stuff. It's in the lore of Final Fantasy XIV anyway. And I thought about this as I was actually trying to make this video. If we can't come up with ideas that work, why don't we borrow some from someone else? Since World of Warcraft just brazenly decided they were going to take the shadow from Shadowbringers, why don't we just take the Horde from them? Wait. Before you scream at me. This is not take the Horde, here, let me borrow you for a second, out of World of Warcraft. It is make the beast tribes go crazy and make a Horde mode. On the map, you will see random enemy markers, which is where beasts of monsters will be showing up out of nowhere, attacking random areas. The idea is to be able to challenge each other for conquest of all of Eorzea. The entire map is now a big military conquest. The Grand Companies will know more details. That's why you have to be in the Grand Company, go into the Grand Company, and take on those roles yourself. Otherwise, you're an innocent bystander, and this is the biggest part. Everyone can get hurt. These Horde modes attack anyone in sight, no matter what you're doing, and some of them, at higher levels, have the ability to ignore sneak on grafters and gatherers. So yeah, gatherers, you ain't safe. You are going to need other players to help you survive, or at least be able to use a chocobo porter to yeet you from one place to the next without getting attacked. Now, we're using our items, we're actually getting involved in combat, and people can feel that everything that they have in their arsenal can be utilized. We restore balance to Eorzea, to each individual map area. What that does is does 3 things. Number 1, it gives you a reason to fight on a regular basis for area control, so that way your rank goes up, your skill goes up, you gain more experience, and you get better rewards based on this one particular Horde mode situation. But This is not just one mode. This is part of a season of combat initiatives. By making it a seasonal transition, you change the way the map and the game is played, so that way people have more reason to show up and keep playing Final Fantasy XIV for a lot longer. Here's the kicker. Anyone, whether you're in the Grand Company or not, can either assist or spoil. This is where it gets fun. If you decide to jump in, you can either help or you can hurt. And it's all based on the Horde's influence spot. And it's a big old fate where you fight each other to the death. There is a way to win and there is also a way to lose, and it permanently changes the map. Makes the areas harder to progress through. Makes everyone have to go on pins and needles worrying if they're going to get attacked or not. Disables Aetherites, meaning you can't get in without going through the main front, meaning you have to go through these areas. It challenges you. It makes the Weather Lady actually important. Utilizing your assets instead of throwing them away with a new patch or a new DLC. That's actually one idea I threw out there. Here's another one. Being able to fight for Area of Conquest, where the Grand Company, instead of doing living meats for cheap-ass storyline challenges that don't make any sense, we can now target areas for conquest. Either you're targeting Horde areas in the Horde side, or you're targeting conquest areas to take over other areas controlled by a different Grand Company. So it's Grand Company versus Grand Company now. You're fighting. You can have anyone that's not in the Grand Company do the same thing. Assist or spoil. And now they choose sides. There are so many ways you can make this work. I want to come up with a badass idea like this. Make the Grand Company into a fighting squad. Have a big, awesome battle. And have everyone in there no longer worry about whether or not your power level, your DPS checks, or anything is going to make you a better player. Just going there and helping out is the only priority. I don't want toxic people fighting over whether or not you're strong enough to stand there. I just want you kicking butt and showing up and being a massive party. This encourages mass engagements, the things Zeplo was talking about the entire time. People getting together and saying hello that don't know each other. This brings people together to fight on a grand scale, create larger battles to dominate the whole group, and you can rush the actual city-state where you can get their coin and get their object, their obelisk, and you can run with it. And you could just take their crystals from them, and anything else you want to think about. But do you see where I'm going with this? If you're going to talk about big ideas, bring them. That's what this channel is going to be all about. Bringing those great ideas. So, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Go for it. I will see you next week when I make another video about another great idea I have to make everyone look stupid on the internet. This is TripleARMS. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay stellar, my friends. Peace. Got it! Beat it! And I got the feeling lucky thing. Yeah. Good job, Kay. Woo! That's right.